Welcome to the Halo Effect, hospitality stories with Ashleigh and Michael Donald. Hospitality isn't just our profession, it's our passion. With decades of experience and countless stories to share, we've navigated the highs and lows of this dynamic industry, not just as professionals, but as a husband and wife team tackling the challenges of business and life together. This podcast is your invitation to step behind the curtain of the hospitality world. We'll share real experiences, lessons learned, and the moments that have shaped our journey, offering inspiration and insights for anyone walking a similar path. Whether you're just starting out or have years under your belt, we're here to remind you that every challenge is an opportunity and every story has the power to inspire. Hello and welcome to the Halo Effect Hospitality Stories with Ashleigh and Michael Donald. Today we're going to be talking about awards applications. So we have quite a bit of experience working with awards, don't we, Ashleigh? We've applied for some in the past.
We do love an awards ceremony.
Both at Halo and actually in our background as well. I guess my first sort of experience sort of going to sort of big awards ceremonies in London, with the Goring winning we won an AA award for the best London hotel, which was quite fun. I ended up on stage while everyone else was still on the table, waiting to get up, accepting the award.
Exactly, making a speech.
I think I'm here a little bit too early. But we've also had some fun with Halo as well.
We have. Well, I think
some people have called you the award queen.
Oh, I love it. I love the title. Changing my business card as we speak. But yes, similar to you, I think in my career working in-house and having the opportunity to join the Katie Awards, Hotel Katie's, which was always such a great industry night out with friends and colleagues in the industry and celebrating successes. And I think really to our own huge surprise in our early days at Halo, we won a startup award for the Northeast, which I think really put awards and the power of awards on our radar for us personally as a business. And we were thrilled to win that. And
we were thrilled to be nominated. I mean, that's the whole thing, isn't it? And we were shocked. I think to have won, because we kind of went there as it was almost like a networking thing, wasn't it? I think that was something that we hadn't really ever done before, and we made a real effort to reach out to people that we had. We been nominated with,
and that was both from a judging perspective and fellow shortlisted nominees as well. Yeah. So meeting Sophie Milliken from Moja, who was one of our judges, and I've been to many of her networking events, her book signings, and that was an amazing way to meet her and her network. And then with our fellow shortlists and nominees, we actually work now with one of the shortlisted candidates in our category. Who supports us with social media. So I think, yes, absolutely beyond the award sort of moment and ceremony, there's so much opportunity. And I think, the network that we've created. So, for example, the Best Businesswoman Awards with Debbie Gilbert, which I was very lucky to win the Marketing and PR Award back in 2024. Gosh, where am I?
Time flies.
And we're still in touch with Debbie. She has an amazing network, and I saw her at a different award ceremony just a few weeks ago, and just so grateful to be part of that. So I think for us, we have personally really seen the benefit for Halo from a recognition perspective, a networking perspective, and also from a sort of reflection perspective as well. And I think one of the challenges I find as a sort of business owner, entrepreneur, is that you're always looking forward, looking to the next opportunities, looking at your pipeline, looking at, making sure that you're secure for the next, coming months. And sometimes you don't give yourself that opportunity to reflect and to look back on where you've come from. And sometimes, if you are stuck in the day to day, or you just have a bad day, and actually to look back and reflect on where you've come from, the achievements, the learnings, successes and failures. It's a really great experience, I think, to go through that awards application process and really look at your business from that reflection perspective.
I definitely think so. And what about from a sort of a marketing perspective? I mean, there is a benefit in that too as well, right? Because it is, I do a lot of our social media, and it can be a real struggle to come up with some ideas sometimes. But then every so often there's an award application going, so they can create a video or a nice picture of Ashleigh winning an award or something like that, and it's really, really helpful. But also it supports the brand as a sort of an industry
it's
leader.
It's that external endorsement as well, I think, from credible awards, that they've got a judging panel, they've got a process that recognises, and you have met and exceeded a set of criteria that they determine award winning, which I think is great to have that external endorsement. I think really leveraging all of the opportunities that are available to you as part of their awards network. And I think some awards do it brilliantly, where they'll have a fantastic communications campaign, both of launching their awards, and you can go to webinars and sort of find out a little bit more about the awards, and they really help you to craft your application, to really understand what proof points they're looking for. So I think if you invest that time and understand what the criteria is, what essentially they're looking for, and you can adapt your application accordingly. Then if you are lucky enough to get to the shortlist stage, then really make the most of that opportunity. And a lot of awards will put it on their website. They'll do a dedicated spotlight on the shortlist candidates for the awards on their social channels, which you can obviously repurpose, and even sending out press releases that you've been shortlisted. I think particularly for national awards, often your regional press will be very interested if you as a local business owner are shortlisted for a national award. So I think we've benefited,
like to champion the locals,
and just as much press coverage arguably sometimes than if you win. So I think you're right when you say about being shortlisted. Actually, you can make almost just as much of in terms of marketing and PR, and of course it's the cherry on the top to have that you going up and collecting your trophy and that winning the award, of course. So I think there's a lot you can do, and then of course during the awards, the networking, which I know we'll come and talk on in more detail. And then, if you do win the award, like what happens afterwards in terms of your follow-up with people that you've met, in terms of maximising the, social media opportunities. And often they'll take a little video of you when you've won, and you can again repurpose and reuse that. So there's a lot of touch points that you can
there's a window of opportunity there, I suppose, as well, though, after you win the award. I mean, yes, if you win an Oscar, you can forever say the Oscar award winning. and I know there's a pub that we love in Hexham called The Rat, and I remember seeing a sign in their beer garden that said Benson and Hedges Pub Garden of the Year 1985 or something like that. That's brilliant. That works. You can still use that. But if it's your cleanliness or food health rating from 3 years ago, and it's 5-star, there's nothing there since, that's not going to be as relevant anymore. But there's definitely a window of opportunity. It's probably a year where you can make the most of it until it's kind of replaced by something else. But keeping that fresh and keeping it.
And I think and as you and your business evolves and grows, there's awards that fit your business at different points in its life cycle as well. So whether it's startup awards, whether it's more women in business awards, or whether it's more small or startup scale up type awards through to larger business awards, I think there's a potentially an award for every sort of category and business that you can look at to see which suits you best. And then I think when it comes to that messaging and really, just making the most of those awards, often they'll give you assets that you can use on your website, on your socials, your email footer, and really take that opportunity to use it. And I think sometimes it does feel a little bit cringe, like, oh my God, I'm kind of shouting it from the rooftops again. But I think again, it is something that you've won, and exactly. But it does help to build that credibility and trust, and and it helps you stand out from the crowd a little bit as well. So it is worth maximising all of the opportunities that are available. It's not just about turning up to the awards ceremony and hoping for a trophy and then leaving. There's a much larger kind of almost treat it as a marketing campaign.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are so many awards out there, though, aren't there? How do you?
There are a lot.
How do you go about finding the right award for you, for your brand, for your hotel, for your business, whatever it might be? How?
Well, I think it's a good starting point is to literally collate a list of all of the available awards in your industry that are relevant to you and your business. So, talking about hospitality specifically here, we've got Katie's, the Hotel Katie's. There's specific design awards, so restaurant and bar design awards, Design awards, head awards, and within those there's various different categories that you can look at. And I think finding I think first and foremost looking at the awards, the body of awards and the business behind the awards. There's, I would say, awards which are more credible than others. There's awards which get people to vote, and some people that don't even have a proper judging panel. And this is across the board, not specifically about hospitality, or awards that suddenly you get an email in your inbox to say, hey, you've won an award that you didn't apply for. I think those can be red flags.
And you can pay for a trophy.
Oh yeah, and you extra for your photo, and you think, oh gosh, it's really, they've got your name on a list, basically a database, and they've kind of contacted you, and it obviously works.
Now we often have sort of a spreadsheet going, and then anytime it's often I see someone else who's won an award, right? It's or they are attending an award ceremony, and I go, well, that looks really good. Let's look at that up a little bit more, and we add it in there. I think, and it's not just for us. It's all, we're in the business of keeping an eye out for these for our clients as well. So when we see those kind of awards, and we go, okay, well that brand has won that award, or whatever it might be, or has been nominated, or has attended that, and it's like, well, this could be a really interesting one to be involved in next year.
Yes,
you've probably already missed the. By that stage, you've already missed the deadlines, but it is probably something you can look into for next year, and that list becomes your preparation for next year.
Exactly, and you can put your sort of timelines. You can go in, and often you can go into the portal and look at the questions, and that helps, I think, you to almost give yourself a checklist to say, okay, it's asking me about what I've done to positively contribute to the community or sustainability. What examples can I give, or how has my business grown in the last year, or what projects or campaigns have I done that have really made an impact, and give some examples. So I think it almost gives you that it's almost task list to work towards in terms of what that criteria looks like. And then I think, coming back to hotels specifically, there's some really interesting and quite sort of ever evolving categories that I think that have really shaped how the industry is moving. So there's a lot more in terms of awards around sustainability, accessibility. There's a lot around design as well. And I think pushing the boundaries of design in hotels is something that has accelerated hugely over a number of years. There's been a lot of transformation projects, so exceptional historic buildings that are now hotels, looking at Old War Office in Whitehall, looking at some of the wonderful clients that we work with, Montcalm Mayfair, which is about to open, which has undergone a 2-year complete refurbishment of a stunning Georgian building and will reopen in the spring. So there's some, specific awards around, heritage projects and restoring and revitalising these buildings into luxury 5-star hotels. And then you've got other more niche areas within the hotel, whether it's F&B, whether it's spa and wellness. And again, I think, pushing the boundaries on all of the different concepts and different, sort of concepts and USPs that are out there. There's almost an award to then reflect those. So I think it can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming, but I think, choosing the right category once you've narrowed down the awards is really key, and really looking at the criteria, looking at the questions, making sure that you can prove it, as well as, just talk about it, because I think there's it can be overwhelming. You're better off applying for fewer awards really well and spending time and ensuring that you've got all of the relevant proof points than trying to spread yourself too thinly and kind of scattering your applications across the board.
Well, let's talk about actually how you do write an award-winning application. I think ultimately, as you say, you want to pick the right awards to actually apply for, and then the right categories. I suppose you want to try and pick categories that you are most likely to be nominated for at the very least. Not necessarily to win, because you do want to be nominated. You don't want to be putting a huge amount of effort in and not get the nomination. So you do want to make sure that you get the nomination. Whether or not you get the win or not is often will come down to how good your application is, I suppose, as well. But understanding, I always sort of look back at award applications very similarly to sort of university experience. There's some simple rules, get it in on time, answer the question. It's really, 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 really simple things. Don't use AI. So that's something that we've come across recently with friends who are judges now, and they say you can spot the AI applications from a mile off. And ultimately, I know that we've had chats with Harry Fielder before, who's from Umi Digital and CEO of the Hotel Marketing Association, and he talks about how AI responses are just average responses, really distinctly average responses, really safe, never putting your head above the parapet. But ultimately, that's not going to work in an application for winning an award, is it?
You need to tell
you don't say, and the distinctly average award goes to.
You need to create that emotional connection like we do in hospitality and in real life. You have to tell your story. It has to be personal. It has to be emotive. And I think, yes, AI, and I think we can dedicate a number of episodes to AI and the pros and cons. But, of course, it's helpful to maybe just sense check or refine things. But I think it has to be written from you, from the heart, from a personal perspective of your brand, of your business, of your hotel. So I think, looking at, I think looking at the questions, just trying to gather all of the information in one place. You've got it all there, and then start to, just put pen to paper. That's the hardest bit, is starting.
Getting started.
And just, get started, just put whatever down you can in terms of all of the examples showing how you've delivered on each of the questions that it's answering, and then just go back through, continue to refine, remove the fluff. Sometimes you can use 100 words when 10 will do, and just make sure that it's really concise and clear, but that it is written from a personal perspective, and I think particularly if you're going for awards that are maybe like leadership awards, women in hospitality awards, or I don't know, best chef. I think you have to get across their personal and personality stories as well as the business. So I think just starting, refining, adjusting as you go, and then get someone else to look at it and just fresh pair of eyes and kind of scrutinize it. And then I think it's worth as well noting that with a lot of award applications, you have quite a limited word count. It might be 250 words per question, so obviously you can't necessarily get all of your information there, but often they will allow you to include an appendices, so you can upload case studies, or you can upload links to videos or elements of your website, maybe where there's testimonials. So I think, I would recommend that you use all of the functionality. Sometimes it's tempting to just write the award and think, right, I'm done. Actually do take time to add those additional uploads, because again, that makes your application stand out versus others.
As hoteliers, we spend so much time thinking about the customer journey, the guest journey. I think in this case, it's really important to think about the judge's journey. So the judge, we've done some judging and are doing some judging again this year for the Startup Awards, and I think it's incredible. I think it's great to see people's applications, and it's amazing how some applications start off so well and then they disappoint, and then some kind of go better than you think they would, based on the businesses that they are. But I think making it easy for them, they're volunteering their time. Mostly, I think maybe some judges run the competition, and they might, obviously they're running the business that runs the competition, but mostly judges are volunteering their time, and making it simple and easy to read with a story behind it that they can really connect with, I think is really important. Do the research beforehand to try and understand who judges are, or maybe who judges were in previous years.
Definitely.
Maybe speak to some people who have had applications shortlisted. It'd be tempting to kind of look at exactly what they've done and somehow try and use that structure. Maybe that's not the best plan, because it's going to get rid of some of the uniqueness of your application, but understanding from them what their experiences were and how you might be able to appeal to the judges, I think would be really powerful.
Yeah, and I think, get as much information into the application as possible. Don't sort of rely on the judges having to then go and research and check all of your social channels and your website and, podcast where you've maybe mentioned something. I think you really do need to serve that to them, because they're checking number of applications similar to, if you apply for a job, you need to kind of get all that information right up front. You can't just leave them to look for it. Now they might do, and they might just validate some of the messages that you've put into the application, but don't rely on that they will do that, because often there's just not enough time to do that. So do be considerate to put all of that information in your application, and don't expect that they'll go looking for it.
Definitely don't miss deadlines. That was it. I mentioned that before. Like for university, that was it. I mean, so many deadlines get extended.
They do.
That's part of the marketing of them. Oh, due to the overwhelming number of applications, we're extending the deadline. So that does happen sometimes, but try and get it in on time.
And I know awards, Best Businesswoman Awards as well, I'm sure they have a very hard deadline, and it's because it's respecting all of the applications and applicants who have pushed to get that on time, that they feel that if they were to extend it, actually it's almost doing a bit of a disservice to those who did get it in on time. So I do understand from both sides.
Do a spell check. Get that right, and get someone to read it. I think when you're so close to a business, it's really hard to really sort of take a step back and really understand where the story is going. But if you get someone else to give it a read and get a taste for what their feeling is, then that's going to be really, really, really helpful. What about the award ceremonies themselves, Ash?
Wow, new outfit, any good excuse. Well,
comfortable shoes.
Yes. So I recently was at the Great British Businesswoman Awards in London, which I was delighted to have won the Marketing and PR Entrepreneur Award. What was wonderful about that award is that I reconnected with Debbie Gilbert, who is the founder of the Best Businesswoman Awards, and I was on her table with her team and with others that we hadn't met until that evening. And what was just so lovely was that we were all there to celebrate. It was a sort of female-led award, so it was very much women supporting women, and just a very, whilst we were all, I suppose, in certain ways competitors, because we were all there, as part of a shortlister award, it really didn't feel that way. It was very much, everyone was just, standing up and cheering and championing and coming up to you at the end to find out more about your business. And it was just, it felt very, very supportive. So I think with the award ceremony, obviously that is, I suppose, the moment and the evening, but it's always really beneficial to do a bit of research before the award ceremony. Look who else has been shortlisted, look who's in your category, you know, get in touch with them. And something that Debbie actually did before we went to the Great British Businesswomen Awards was that she emailed every single person that was attending the event on LinkedIn to connect with them, and just sent a short message, hey, you know, fellow shortlister, look forward to meeting you. Do come and say hi when we're at the event. And she had 5 or 6 people that, you know, came over. Oh my gosh, Debbie, we connected on LinkedIn. And immediately the networking became so much more purposeful, and she was able to establish very quickly relationships, and then obviously do the follow-up after. And I think that was a really good lesson to me, that I maybe do it a bit more on an ad hoc basis, and maybe, you know, select maybe 1 or 2. And actually the way that Debbie did it was she you know, cast her net really wide, because it was a women in business, and that very much suits her business profile as well, but it just a really good way of maximizing that opportunity. So I think there's the whole networking side, researching who's there, connecting with people in advance, you know, and looking at maybe if there's people at the award ceremony you want to actually go over and introduce yourself to then nurture relationships that could turn into a collaboration, a client, a partner to work with.
I think that's a really good point. Actually, it's some of these events. I mean, we've been to awards ceremonies where it's over 1,000 people in the room in Grosvenor House, for example, and to be able to find, you know, a couple of people that you may know, it's really hard. Like, it's really hard. You might be sitting on the other side of the room. You might not actually get to see them at all. So to cast your net wide, and I don't know how many people, emailing 1,000 people might be tricky, but maybe 50. If you email 50 people, chances are you're gonna, for an event like that, you're going to bump into a few people that you've made the effort with, and that makes such a difference. Again, think about the people that are sitting there. They might be sitting on a table where they don't know anyone, and if someone comes over and says hi, they would love to say hi back. And that can really be a powerful networking tool to really forge that sort of deeper connection, because these kind of events, it can be very sort of transactional. Oh, hi, how are you? And then
definitely.
I'm off to eat my dessert or have my coffee or whatever it might be.
I think in terms of, you know, of course, networking at the events are such a key part of the ceremony. Also using it as an opportunity to really strengthen relationships with your team. So when, you know, we've been to awards in the past where there's groups of people from the same business, and you know, you can just see the joy and the fun and the celebration of success. So I think it's a great opportunity to extend the invitation to your wider team. And then obviously if you get up on stage and you sometimes get the chance to say a few words, so always good to have a few things up your sleeve. And
if it's not on stage, there can be something right afterwards as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it's you go up and he's, they're not making any speeches, and then you go up and they say, we're just going to lead you off here to
I think
chat to an
that's
interviewer.
What happened to me. I was like, oh my God, think of something quick. So I think, having a few lines about, you know, why you're delighted to win the award, what it means to you, just, you know, have it prepared in the back of your mind. And then for me, you know, try not to trip up as you walk up on the stage. That's always like when I've got a long dress on, which I nearly did at the awards in January, with my big clumpy boots on, thinking they were hidden well underneath my long dress anyway.
We'll add some photos, links and photos.
And then, you know, obviously what to do if you don't win. Now, of course, there's that anticipation and you're there, you know, hoping. And
gracious loser face.
Yeah, remember the Joey Tribbiani gracious loser face. But, you know, it really isn't, it's hard sometimes to think, you know, I didn't win. But actually, you have won, you've been nominated, you're in the room, you're shortlisted, you've been part of the experience, you've won all of these new connections. So I think, you know, please, you know, don't be disappointed. Look at, you know, which businesses have won, look at, you know, how you could maybe learn from that experience in the future, how you might need to tighten up your applications going forwards. Is it worth reapplying for an award? So, for example, the Great British Businesswoman Awards, I was shortlisted for an Entrepreneur Award in the 2023-24 category and didn't win. And then I thought, should I reapply? I'm not sure. And they actually contacted and sort of said, just let you know, applications open. It'd be lovely to receive your application. I'm thinking, oh gosh. And I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to go for it. You just never know. And then here I was, shortlisted and then won, which was fantastic. So sometimes you can feel a bit disheartened to think, I've tried that and I'm moving on. But actually sometimes it's just that your application just wasn't quite right, or it was just a really strong category that year, and there was someone else that was doing something. So I think, do persevere, do learn from it, and it might not have been the right category for you, and there might be other categories within that awards initiative that are better suited. So do look at that and don't give up.
From a sort of financial perspective, we have a few colleagues and friends who have been sort of nominated for awards and then chosen not to put off really by the prices of the event itself.
Yeah,
and some of them can be quite punchy. Some of them can be hundreds of pounds
for a ticket,
often
they're
there's a
in
meal,
London.
It's in London. There's accommodation and there's travel and there's everything else in there. It's a really hard one to
big investment.
work out
I think
return on investment, isn't it?
It's good to treat it as a marketing cost in your P&L. I think it's if you look at all of your different marketing costs to drive visibility and exposure for your business, I think for me awards are right up there and should be prioritized because of that external endorsement factor, and there's so many facets to it from a visibility and networking credibility perspective. So I think trying to package up the expense of your train, your overnight stay, your award ticket as a marketing cost, for me it is the way that I would approach it, because it does feel expensive when you break it down like that, and especially if you're having to travel like we would, for example, down to London. But I do think it is from an ROI perspective, if you maximise all of the opportunities that we've mentioned, sort of pre, during and post awards, I think it's a really cost-effective way of money. If it's the right award for your business, I do think it is a really good opportunity that if you can make budget to go, I think you will reap rewards for a long time to come.
Whether you win or not, because you're in the room, right? You're already in the room. In fact, in some ways, there's better opportunities to connect with people when you haven't won, because you get taken away and to have the interviews and things like that. And obviously you have the marketing campaign of the award ceremony itself if you win, but you're probably in the room a little bit more, and you can have a little bit more opportunities to talk to people and talk to other winners, I suppose. Yeah, definitely.
So I think, really, in summary, I do think that there's so much opportunity with awards. I think obviously looking at the right awards for your business, the right categories within those awards, looking and planning it out like a campaign, deadlines to submit, marking your calendar to know when shortlists come out so you can be ready and turn around those social media posts and press releases really quickly to maximize the momentum of that. Reposting and repurposing all of the spotlight posts that they'll share, making sure that you've got that in your own social calendar, and then really making the most of the awards ceremony, as we said, in the sort of pre, during and post networking and follow-up. And then, if you're lucky enough to win, use every available resource, asset, logo that's going, just absolutely make the most of it. And I think, really try and keeping in touch with the people that you've met at those awards. And, often you'll see similar faces at different awards as well. And so it's really, you really build up a community of people. And I think just as a final point around the awards and the sort of ongoing, I think particularly Best Businesswoman Awards with Debbie Gilbert, what she does really well is she has created a community and a network that as a gold winner or a silver winner of her awards, then you get invited to twice throughout the year. She'll do a summer and a winter event that it's, drinks and networking for 3 hours, and all previous past winners are invited to attend. And again, it's a great way to stay reconnected with people and people that you might not have met at that award ceremony that you were at, but others, and building those relationships and those connections on an ongoing basis. So I think that moving beyond the awards into developing a community, I think is where I would certainly see that longer term benefit for as well.
Super. Well, if we follow all these tips and tricks, we could be awards queens too.
And kings. But I would definitely encourage all businesses to look at awards as part of their strategy. And it can feel daunting, but I think, looking at it as part of your marketing mix, if you like, and really just putting together a plan and taking action and learning, and I think it's a great thing to do as part of your overall marketing for your business.
Thank you for listening to The Halo Effect, Hospitality Stories with Ashleigh and Michael Donald. We hope today's episode has offered some insights and encouragement to anyone navigating the world of hospitality or entrepreneurship. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question, want to suggest a topic, or interested in just joining us as a guest, you'll find our contact details in the show notes. Don't forget to follow, like, or subscribe to The Halo Effect on your favourite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. Until next time, thank you, and we can't wait to welcome you back for more stories and inspiration.